2 weeks ago. Was it already 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks? I don't know. There was Passover in the middle of that. Some time ago, when we met in this space last time. I don't know if you remember, we were at the foot of Mount Sinai. We were celebrating. There was this 8-day celebration because we had finally completed the tabernacle, the portable temple that is going to be carried around for the next 40 years. We don't know that yet, though. Not until a few more turn of the scroll. But we were rejoicing. Finally, the tabernacle is built. A few weeks later, we're still at the foot of Mount Sinai. We haven't moved for weeks. People don't realize that. People think, you get the Torah at Sinai, and then you're on to the 40-year trek. But in fact, we spent an awful lot of time at the foot of the mountain. So we are still there. And this time God is downloading to Moses, and Moses passing it on to Aaron, the rituals that need to happen for Yom Kippur. It's really a fascinating thing. We know that those of us who don't take the text literally, that this was written by human beings, enlightened human beings, spiritual human beings, at the time the first temple or second temple stood, around that time. And so they already had a temple. They already had all those rituals. And as they were writing those texts, they projected into a story they were creating, a foundational story they were creating of an ancient past, the model of the temple and its rituals as they had it, into what we started 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago in the wilderness. You see what I'm trying to say? So what's interesting in this Torah portion is, because of that, we have a glimpse of what happened on Yom Kippur in Jerusalem, in the temple, through this Torah portion. We'll delve into that tomorrow morning. So if you want to get a little glimpse of that and read the Torah portion with us in the morning, come back at 10:30 and we'll read through at least 1 or 2 verses of it in the hour and a half that we have. If you can, that's all we can do, really. But one other thing that it says, and I wrote it down. On the day of Yom Kippur, Aaron, the high priest, is to walk into the Holy of Holies. Right? So we know he did that on Yom Kippur, every Yom Kippur, and have a meeting with God, the high priest. And it says in the Torah, God tells Aaron, I will appear in a cloud over the cover of the ark, the ark with the tablets of the law, the ark of the covenant. I will appear in a cloud over the cover of the ark. And I just love the paradox. Here is God announcing to whomever is listening, I will make myself visible. And how is God going to make God's self visible? By appearing in a cloud, which is by definition opaque, thick, and really doesn't allow anything to be seen through. And I just love the paradox. God appearing and staying invisible. God revealing God's self and still remaining hidden at the same time. I will appear, but in a cloud. I will be a cloud. That's how I will be. And I was thinking, what was the image of a cloud in the consciousness of ancient Israel? What was that conjuring up for them? What did they see in that? What did they connect to? I mean, if you live in those ancient times in the Middle East, clouds are actually symbol of great awe and reverence. I mean, I don't know if you've ever, there's not a lot of clouds here in Seattle, but where are you people? The clouds in Seattle. There are clouds in Seattle. Never mind. All right. Don't do that one ever again. Okay. Seattleites are not aware of the clouds anymore. It's just part of what we do. But anyway, my point was, like when you find yourself surrounded by those thick, dark clouds all around, right? This sense of awe and reverence that comes in all of us, almost a sense of fear, like something awesome is going to happen, a storm or something. It's going to be a powerful experience. And I wonder, 3,000 years ago, before everything was explained about how the clouds work, when this was much more alive for people, they saw those clouds also in great awe, fearing maybe the thunder and the lightning that could come from those clouds, sometimes the lightning starting a fire, or floods coming from the rain and the storm. But I also thought about how when you live in the Middle East, rain is life-giving. I mean, to this day, we still pray in Israel for rain. We were in Israel when there was a major drought, 3 years ago, I don't know when we were. And I remember reading in the newspaper that they had put rabbis on a plane to fly in circle over Israel while they were praying for rain. Talk about taking things literally. But I thought it was just beautiful to have those, supposedly deeply spiritual people praying for rain on the plane. All together now. Well, it doesn't work if they're not rabbis. But the rain is the life-giving, is the showering of the earth with abundance, is the nourishment of the fruit of the earth that is allowed to come forth, life-giving, life-sustaining. I mean, you could look at clouds in great wonderment as well. And I thought, it's a perfect image for the Kabbalists too. I mean, the Kabbalists are going to look at that image of the clouds and think, well, look at that. On the one hand, you have the thundering power of the divine masculine. And on the other hand, you have the life-giving waters of the divine feminine, all in one image of that cloud. Wow. I mean, thinking about it, they could not have chosen a most perfect image to kind of give us a sense of presence, of what God should appear as. And then I started to think about, okay, what would we do this day? What would be the image we would choose to have represent that presence for us today? And I'm sure that all of us will have a different take on it. We'll have a different connection with that. What that would look like, what that would feel like. Is it an outer expression, an inner expression? We all specifically as a meditative synagogue tend to, try to beseech the divine through meditations, through moments of inner contemplation. We seek to wake up to the divine within ourselves. But also perhaps because we live in this glorious, beautiful landscape, many of us seek to connect with the divine in the outdoors, in nature, in the forests, on the hills, in the mountains, on the beach. And there too, the presence of the divine can be deeply felt and entered into. But I would also want us to look at what the Torah is telling us, giving us a third path, a third way to connect with the divine. And the image is to enter into a tent of meeting and encountering the divine as a you. Entering into a relationship with a you with a capital Y. The great you, the great thou. And seeking that connection through moving into a relationship with whatever we understand that presence to be. God as a you. Now, I know that for us, these two words are really hard. God and you or thou, they come with a lot of baggage that we have received somehow from childhood, from teachings, and from a millennia patriarchal religious teaching. And that image of God has become something that we have a hard time being with. That patriarch, old, bearded, white man in the sky, punishing the sinner. And that's something that doesn't work for us anymore. So how do we do it? How do we enter into a relationship with that great you? How can we move beyond that image, that concept that no longer serves us? And find that encounter again, find that meeting again, that you again, with which we can talk, to which we can share, open up. There's a story of a Hasidic master in his synagogue, talking 200 years ago in Eastern Europe. This Hasidic masters were great Kabbalists. And he was praying in the synagogue on Friday night, and just like we did, he was fervently praying the Amidah prayer. And he was praying and davening, swaying back and forth, saying every word, fully opening his mouth to really mouth every word, his heart fully into it, completely absorbed by the prayer he was praying. And suddenly he burst in ecstasy, shouting in the middle of the synagogue, Ribono shel olam, Holy One of Being, I look up, you. I look down, you. I look left, you. I look right, you. I look forward, you. I look back, you. I look at him, Lou. I look at her, you. I look at this, you. You, everywhere, you. Of course, he didn't use that word. He used the Hebrew word atah. Atah, you. The atah that met him when he said in the Amidah over and over and over again, Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai. And slowly it dawned on him that what he was saying is, blessed are you, Adonai, Holy One of Being. Blessed are you. Now, here. Because that's what the Kabbalists would tell us. Blessed are you is blessed are you moment in which I find myself. Blessed are you encounter that I encounter right now. Blessed are you breath of my body coming in and coming out. Blessed are you meeting this person or this person. Blessed are you. You are the Holy One of Being. How do we hear Baruch atah Adonai? What do we see when we say these words? We just said them during the Amidah. When we bend our knees and say, Baruch, Ata Adonai, you are the Holy One. I seek to enter into the tent of meeting. Holy One, help us, help me. Enter into every space, every moment, as if into a tent of meeting. Oh, and I know that at first, all that I will see is the cloud of my sense of separateness. The cloudiness of my consciousness that can't see through the thickness of my mind, of my thoughts, of my concepts. Can't see through and can't grasp the light of your being, beaming through every moment and every being. But help me to practice. Help me to practice repeating Baruch Ata Adonai, you, right now, you, this apple I'm about to eat, this breath that I'm taking, this space into which I am entering, this community of which I am a part. Blessed are you. You are that. And I do it with Baruch. See, Baruch doesn't exactly translate as blessed. The English always comes short. Baruch comes from the root of another word that is berech. And berech is the knee. So when we say Baruch, we are invoking an inner kneeling. You know, we do the kneeling when we say Baruch Ata Adonai in the Amidah. But what we are called upon to do is that attitude, that inner kneeling, that sense of awe and reverence in the presence, in the you that we meet. So I want to reclaim that you. I want to reclaim that you in our day and age. I want to bury once and for all the bearded white guy in the sky. I want to let him die. He has served his purpose. Amen. Hallelujah. It's time to move on. It's time to let him go. It's time to face a different kind of concept. I'm even baffled because in the Torah we have cloud as God. We have the Mount Sinai is God. We have the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud accompanying the Hebrews through the wilderness. There's never in Torah that picture of the white bearded guy in the sky. I suspect that we probably took it on after Greek and Roman religious influence. Maybe we also took it from the Christian world that obviously needed a father for a son, and we kind of integrated it all. But it's not part of us. And so we can feel free to just let it go and find the shapeless, always moving, formless cloud of the divine that we beseech. And that's what the high priest did on Yom Kippur. He walked into the Holy of Holies and beseeched the presence of the you, entered into that relationship with the one. And then he came out. He came out and he had his prayer shawl covered. And he came out into the big esplanade, big patio in front of the temple. And all of us were assembled in front of him. And he raised his hands and shared once a year the priestly blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha. And he blessed the whole assembly of Israel once a year as he came out of the Holy of Holies. Holy One, please bless us on this day, as in every day, that we might know in our life the you of your presence.